Hi, everyone. Welcome to Eye Opener Society. I am bringing you another show here, and it's a show that's a little difficult to get to. In full honesty and full disclosure, today I had a nervous breakdown, a bad one at that. Um, I gained up enough energy where I'm able to get on here and do this show because this will be the last recording in the Eye Opener Society studio. Um, from here, I don't know where we're going to go, but the show is going to go on. Having said that, we sat down and spoken together. Myself, Jennifer Miller. We actually speak a lot during the day, and it really makes the day go by so much faster. And we come up with so many topics together. And I've given a lot of creative control now over to her because she's got great ideas. And I like to take people's ideas and creativity, give them that voice. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. But when she mentioned this topic, it really struck home because many of you know that when I started this podcasting, I started with my own business, which was a meditation coaching business. It didn't go far for one reason: people wanted instantaneous results. I've been told through many other mediums and all that I am a healer. I don't know exactly what it is I'm able to heal yet. That's my journey, and I'm continuing on with that. But I feel I can help people through meditation. That could be one reason. But I don't sit here and just do breathing exercises with people. I get very deep because it was third eye meditation. It was to open up your third eye. And when I explained what was involved, clients backed away because it's going to take too long. We don't want to get into this. It's negative because I had to dig some of your negativity to make you realize more about yourself. And that's not negative. That is being a realist. And this is what Jennifer Miller brought up. So Jennifer Miller, hello. Welcome again to the
Hello.
show. All right. We've all
Hi.
been dying for this. So you heard what I taken away from, our conversation today. So why don't you just go ahead and explain it because you had the idea.
So realist versus negative outlook. A lot of people will put that label of a negative person for someone that's a realist. And for me, a realist is somebody that um sees both sides. They see the negative and the positive side, but they see how the situation is going to unfold. And they just make that statement. I know I've made plenty of statements where I'm just kind of like, yeah, I think it's going to go this way. And someone will look at you and be like, that's really negative. And you're thinking, how? I really hope it goes the opposite way and it turns out really good, but it's really looking like it's going to go this way. And they label it as negative. Um, so negativity, like with people, I usually feel those people only focus on the negative. They're only going to think negatively. It's going to be like someone trying to claw themselves out of a hole, but they just sit there and don't want to. They don't want to see a good side to something. They, are always talking very negatively about themselves, every situation. Um, it could be someone that's like an energy vampire. So when someone says somebody who's a realist is negative, I always come to this conclusion that they just don't like what they heard. Just because you don't like something you hear doesn't automatically mean that person is a negative person. And it kind of makes me think, okay, you think they're negative, and so when they say that, they start pushing toxic positivity on people, and that is where they want sunshines and rainbows coming straight out of your ass. They want you to breathe and produce unicorn farts. And sometimes, like you said, you have to get into the meat of the negative to look at yourself as a whole. And, you know, I think a lot of us all have realist, tendencies. Like I feel like a good portion. There's some people that I feel are fake who really are the people that push that toxic positivity and you know and when you're around them, but then when they get by themselves, you often have to wonder, are they like sitting there and being very petty and negative themselves, and they're trying to like deflect. And the reason I thought this, which I'm going to bring up, is because, with my small business, I've had issues too, just like you, with people. They want quick fixes, they want the answers, and sometimes you can't give that to people. Recently, I had a lady who wanted me to help her cleanse her house because she felt there was really negative. And I'm like, well, you can do this yourself. And it's actually better if you do it yourself, because if you want an energy gone and it's brought there by you, it's best to be taken away by yourself. And I gave her the list of things that she would need, and I told her the things that she would need to think about while she's cleansing, and things that she would need to say, like positive affirmation type things, um, and not to smudge her stick out, like not put it out, but to let it burn out itself. And we talked about this, and she seemed pretty good with it. She left, and I didn't hear back from her, so I ended up messaging her a week and a half later and asked her how it was going. And she said that she's like, "Oh, I stopped because it didn't seem like it was doing anything." And I was like, "Oh." And I'm like, "Well, how long did you do it?" She was like, "One day." It's like, "Oh, okay." So I was like, sometimes like with, egg cleanses, or, sage cleanses, I was like, you sometimes have to do them a couple more times, um, to really start feeling anything, to feeling that it's going in the right direction. She did not like that. And so it was like, okay, I knew right where she was going with, wanting it instantly. And so I've just been thinking really hard on a lot of things with my business, and how I want things to go. And this kind of just popped into my head, like people don't really want the realist part of it. They want only the positive, but even if the realist is, what's going to happen out of the whole situation, it just, yeah, it doesn't really
Yeah.
jive with them.
Right. And I feel you. What we do, what we sell, so to speak, it's not like the perfect packages that you take off the shelf or something that's just promising a cure. We are digging a lot deeper. It's soul seeking. There's um the whole metaphysical aspect behind it. Unless you really truly understand it, it's difficult to swallow. But people are approachable to it, where they say, yes, I would like to try this. But when you do start to explain the things, some people are going to say, oh, I'll heal you through meditation. And they're just going to sit down and do some breathing exercises and, oh, this feels great because it's just lowering my heart rate. That's fine. You can do that. But on a higher level, when you really want to find out what is bothering you, I do remember one client, beautiful girl, very scared because she was, I'm guessing she was psychic. She was seeing a lot of disasters. And she said she didn't know if they were going to come true and what. I said, okay, well, we can bring this out. I said, but the problem is, I said, every time you have one of these, you know, visions, you need to write it down in detail. Get me every single thing you seen, felt, smelled, whatever it may be. Write it down, bring it to me. We could use that. It seemed though like this was too much work. She wanted to end the visions right away. And I can't do that. I could teach you through meditation how to focus on them better, where you could actually utilize it as a skill or a tool. Or if you have to, if it's really bothering you, how to tune it out. My wife is the same way. She has these things going on constantly. What frightens her is the fact that she doesn't know how to use it. And she's still learning on how to, focus on that and make it work for her. But it's difficult when you don't know. So when someone's giving it, and this is always my problem, like you said, with a realist, if you came to me and you said, I want this, so I give you a whole package. Here it is. Here's the key to the universe. It has all the answers. You take it, you read it, everything comes to you, and then you turn around and ask somebody else. I really need the answers to the universe. Once it's given to you, you need to know how to use it. You can't just
Mm.
keep moving on and on to different, avenues. You could do that once you've heard and then seek other perspectives. But if you didn't get the lesson that was handed to you, it's like getting the answers for a test. Here's the answers for the test, but you don't use them. You'll go to somebody else and say, I need answers to the test. That's a realistic thing that goes on in this community. And I
It
get it.
is.
And unfortunately, here's the other thing. I think it comes from other people that are metaphysical, not just from people who don't know anything about it. The gatekeepers, it must be done this way. It has to be done this way. You can't have your opinion on how you want to do it. And yet we're all individuals that have our own individual gifts. And
Yeah.
that's how we channel stuff. I do things a certain way just because it works for me. If I try doing it another way, it's not going to work. It's going to kind of
Right.
ruin my energy. So we have to stick to what we do. And it's not gatekeeping. We are going to do everything individually. And that's why I like listening to how some people do meditation. I have no problem learning a new skill or seeing how it's done. But in the end, it's going to come back to what works best for me. If
Right.
that's, I think, where the problem is lying in this community. And if, it goes from anything, it goes from your tea leaf readings, it goes to my meditation, it goes to Reiki sessions, it goes to tarot card readings. We need to understand that these things are all being laid out for you. Yes. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Yes. Are there going to be obstacles to go through it? Of course. It's best to know and understand these obstacles so you're better prepared for them. We can't just tell you there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Everything's going to be wonderful for you. It don't work that way. It really
Um,
don't.
Even if you do have wonderful things happen, there's going to be some bad things that come with it. I mean, that's kind of like, so like if you see a mountain in tea reading, it means that you're going to have to work on something. Like if you have a goal, if you have a dream that you'd like to do and you finally decide that you're going to do it. A mountain, right? You think, "Oh, I'll get there." You have to work to get up it. You have to, crawl, blood, sweat, and tears practically sometimes to get up there. But once you get there, it is good because you realize that you put in the work. You realize that you put in it, and it was like kind of like a light going off, like, yeah, I did the work, like I'm the magic, I'm the part that, really needed to see that. And a lot of people seem like they want you they want to be spoon fed. You can take them to water, like, especially with meditation, you can take them to the water, show them, but they want you to spoon feed. Like they want you to do all the work for them. So if you think about it, if you're doing all that work for them, they're not really getting anything out of it. And so like that's what I say when I'm doing a tea reading. If I see a mountain, I'm like, you're gonna have to put the work in. You're gonna have to, maybe make some sacrifices that you are not going to like, or you're going to have to put in more work than you normally would have. And it's not going to be an easy challenge, but once you get there, it's going to be some smooth sailing. I mean, until the next, you know,
Right. Yeah. It's
thing
like that
comes.
too, like a lot of the Wiccan and the witchcraft and all, when you mention magic, magic can happen, but magic isn't that instantaneous result. It's like whatever result you want. Yes, there are things that can get you there, whether it be colors, whether it be certain herbs, whether it be certain, incense, uh,
Crystals.
crystals, and whatever it is you use. These are just tools, but they're only going to help guide you, but you have to put in the work.
Hmm.
If you want something to actually happen, it's not going to just happen. The individual is magic. You have to start that course to seek it out, to find it in order for it to happen. I
Right.
don't think there is anybody that waves that wand and something appears in front of you. That's a falsehood.
I mean, there's times that things have fallen in my lap and,
Yes. But
like
there's always
opportunities like
work
this.
behind them. Yeah. There's always work behind that though. Even the stuff
Right.
that falls into your lap, it fell into your lap because of a series of events that taken place that, your mind had set in motion.
That is true. That is true. Yeah,
Mhm.
that is true. Um, And that's part of the realist part with this. Like a lot of, you know, you have to be realistic with certain things. Like people do have expectations, and it can be dashed when they find out that you have to do something to get to the point that you want it to. And um it's one of those things, like you have to be willing to put the work in. And um that's the part with the realist. And I think that that gets labeled as negative a lot, even when it's really not. It's more just like, it is what it is. Like, this is, you can't change it.
Hmm.
um and that's when people come in with their advice, and well, be happy that you're alive. And it's like, well, yeah, I'm happy that I'm alive. I'm glad I woke up. Like, that was definitely the cherry on top. I mean, but it still doesn't mean that there were things that I had to do throughout the day to get.
Right. It's an everyday thing. It's a realist way. People are always going to be drawn into that super positivity, that toxic positivity that you mentioned. If I'm
Yeah.
sitting here, everything's going to be great, Jennifer. Everything's going to work out in your favor. Oh my God, the whole world is bright. You will be drawn into that because, hey, everything's going to be great.
What
Somebody
you
else
want to
is,
hear?
but you know, that's a toxic positivity. I know there are people that live their lives with 100% positivity at all times. However, when they break down to somebody else and they try and break it down, they realize right away that, oh, wow, what happened to that positivity? It's because you got to start somewhere and you got to start from the bottom and you got to work your way up. And it's not until you get to that positivity where you can stay there, you still
Mhm.
got to go through the negatives. Listen, I had a nervous breakdown today, a nervous breakdown based upon what's going on in my life right now. But at the same time, I realize emotionally, this is what has to happen before I start getting to the better, plateaus in my life and where I want to be. I'm a realist. I know that it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a struggle. And sometimes it takes over. But yet, yes, there is that light at the end of the tunnel that I know will be there. But in order for me to get there, this is the path I have to go down. And I
It's
like to
not
bring it.
permanent.
Right. It's definitely not permanent. The pendulum always swings.
Right. And that's the part that I think a lot of people, like, positive people do have their bad days. They do have like those depressive episodes. They do have something that brings them down. The part that makes you negative, though, is you set up camp and you stay there.
Mhm.
People that are positive, they know that this is just a cycle. It's going to go. They might have to work through it. They might have to just wait it out, but they know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, like you said. People that are truly just negative, though, they don't see that. They don't feel that. They really do feel like they're swallowed by just the black satin sack, basically, and they kind of find comfort in it. And I said that was satin because, comfort.
Mhm.
Um, and I really truly feel like those are people that are few and far between. I feel like a lot of people are usually stuck in that realist area,
Mhm.
and they might lean towards negativity, but I really feel that a lot of people aren't so wholly sucked into the negative bitterness, that can happen. So there's that. And I always feel like those people that are really super toxic and positive, I feel like they're actually kind of a part of that negative group that doesn't see their way out in
Mhm.
a way, because they're so set on telling people how they need to feel and how happy they should be, that they're ignoring themselves in a way, that they're not seeing like the real them. So like they could be positive people that really are happy and pushing that fakeness onto people, but a part of me always is like, I think they're probably really unhappy,
Mm.
you know?
It's very well said. I like that. And with that, folks, I appreciate everybody tuning in again. And the more you tune in, the better off this is going to be. Because, like I said, at this point, Eye Opener Society, at least the studio, is no more. We are going to be doing more shows. And we're definitely going to be doing the live talk show, and that's going to be from wherever I am at the moment. But it's still going to keep coming to you. Like I said, there's steps I'm going to be taking, and this has been a perfect topic for that. So keep tuning in. eyeopenersociety.podbean.com. Don't forget, we have our other podcasters on there. We have Ann Lund's Haunted and Waiting, Elaine's Arcane Oracle, and Sunset Child's Out There podcast. I know everybody's still waiting on Ann Lund's. I think because of the holiday season, she's kind of wrapped up and busy, but she should have something out for us at any moment. And as soon as it's out, we'll definitely put it up for you. So please keep tuning in and keep listening, because we're going to be blowing your minds when we do our live talk show, which will be in the second week of January. We have to practice that, because if you think Jennifer Miller's got so many ideas right now, just wait till she's unleashed. I'm looking forward to it, buddy. I really am. So thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us.